From the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
Losers do not know how to win, which is why Democrats can never accept victory, ever. They have to sell you the hopelessness and the feudalism so that they can then act as a collective. This is what it is. See, if your self-interest is doing well, you don't want to listen to this nonsense. In fact, if you look at the actual statistics of what is happening in the arena of the economy, in what is happening in the areas that are run properly versus the Democrat welfare roach enclaves, then you'll never, ever take into consideration the opinion of somebody who is a Democrat. So they have to constantly beat the drum. We're always losing. Everything he does is wrong. Forget the Dow Jones. Forget the private sector growth. Forget the 11 states that make up 70% of the economy. Not one led by Democrat failures. They can never have you understand the perspective of what the real cost is. What the real cost is of having Democrat governance. It's hopelessness. It's feudalism. It's accepting the lies. And where does it all start? To me, it starts with the judges. See, I believe socialism is completely unconstitutional. Absolutely and unequivocally unconstitutional. I also believe policies that are created to have theft of the public purse to your other Democrat apparatchiks is illegal. So how does it work? It works with crooked-ass judges each and every time. And when we talk crooked judges, how do you not focus in on the greatest example of crooked judges? Illinois, Crook County, Shirakistan judges.
Cook County's chief judge responds to critics who claim the courts are too lenient, especially when it comes to jailing repeat offenders charged with new crimes. Investigative reporter Ben Bradley learned nearly 250 people on electronic monitoring are nowhere to be found.
By the way, I could play this, and this is the great example, because it's that crooked Crook County that is a laughingstock, not just in our country, but around the world. You say Cook County, and even the Ukrainians say, boy, that's corrupt. So this asshat, this thumb, and I'm being kind because he looks like something else, this moron Democrat, in spite of what we're living through, the repeat offenders, felons, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, being released by these crooked-ass judges that just killed a cop and, I don't know, shot the other one, and I'm guessing things aren't going well. He's going to tell you how right he is.
The shooting that left Chicago police officer John Bartholomew dead and his partner critically injured renewed focus on judges' use of electronic monitoring. The man charged is a 7-time convicted felon who ditched his ankle monitor after being released by a judge to await trial on a new carjacking case.
I wouldn't call it a mistake. The judge made the best decision with what was in front of.
Now, this asshat, and by the way, repulsive as most Democrats are, Judge Charles Beach. Judge Charles Beach is commenting on what we know is a felon, multiple felon, that killed a Chicago cop and left another one in serious, if not dire condition. And all of the time, ignoring the fact that he beat a woman half to death prior to this. Let out. And he's going to tell you how right these moron Democrat judges are? Morons.
Them at the time, right? Unfortunately, we'll go back to that concept, like, how do you predict what another human being's going to do? But it's cynical.
How do you predict what another human being's going to do? Well, your disgrace, your stupidest, your fraudulent, ugly ass face that you are. How many felonies did you let him out? That's how you could predict. How many times have you seen him? Does he know the bailiff on a first-name basis? Or are you trying to cover up the fact that he is a Chicago cop, the chief of internal affairs nephew, the niece who was pulled over as a drug mule? Are you trying to pretend you don't know that, stupid? How'd you pass the bar?
I would say he's a 7-time convicted felon. So he's got a track record.
Yeah, you could say that. But you could also say he's presumed innocent as he stands in front of you at that moment.
There is no reasoning with this. This is a cult. This is the same type of cult as the Islamo-Nazi dressed in the 7th century. This is a mind problem. He has no character. He is looking at the evidence. A dead cop, another one clinging to life, looking at 7-time felon. And he still is going to pretend that he stands on some high ground. This is what the communists did. As tens of millions of people were killed in China, in the Soviet Union. This is the same ignorance, the same arrogance perpetrated by the same repulsive human beings. By the way, Lenin, repulsive looking. Stalin, repulsive looking. Trotsky pulled it off because he had some glasses and perhaps a Van Dyke. But this asshat looks like a thumb with eyebrows.
Chief Judge Charlie Beach has only been on the job 6 months, but he has heard the anger and the questions. Whether it's a woman set on fire on a CTA train or the killing of a cop, why do judges give pretrial release to people with a history of violence who face new charges?
Because there are no consequences, and especially in Crook County, where this baggy-eyed bimbo is the Chief Justice. A long legacy of on-the-take scum Democrats. And there are no consequences. Well, that's only in these Democrat dungholes. The rest of the country, like the 11 states that are having an economic boom, the likes of which an Illinoisan can only dream of, they're moving forward with the idea that these crooked-ass, corrupt, or just plain old stupid. See, that's what Judge Beach is hoping for. He's hoping on the fact you grade on a curve. I mean, after all, subconsciously, you know, when Democrats are in charge, they're thieves. Subconsciously, you know, when Democrats are in charge, you're hopeless. Everything is a failure and everything is a lie. That's why you cannot afford to live underneath them. And now, with the rules that could be taking place in the well-run areas, these judges will no longer have the protection of held harmless rules and laws where they cannot be culpable. Each and every one of these scum judges who lets out a criminal that goes on to perpetrate a crime should be right there with them in the cell.
But Emily, when we have a problem, and we've clearly identified a problem, we have to figure out how do we deter problems. And the problem to which I speak are judges. And we see it in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and we see it with Irina Zarutska down in North Carolina. We see it all across the country. We have a problem with judges. So it is time for the legislative branches to step up and find a way to put a check on the judicial branch. So how do you deter a problem? The problem is judges. You can deter them by impeaching them. The federal legislature can impeach federal judges who derelict their duty. Many states, you can do the same thing, state legislatures. Not only that, Tim Sheehy has legislation called the Jail Act to help deter some of this activity by allowing people to bring civil actions if a judge, let's say, lets someone out on bail and commits an offense, because the data is there. And you can see it from the United States Sentencing Committee. In an 8-year study that they did, 63.8% of violent offenders in 2010 who were released were rearrested. Same number, 63.8%, right about there in 2005. So people commit crimes again. That's why we depend on judges to put in the right sentencing. They're not doing it. So we need to look at deterrence.
And now election year. This is supposedly an election year. I don't give a rip what somebody says they are. If they do not support the idea that judges shall be held with harm in the event of repeat recidivism being released back onto society, then you have a decision to make. And that decision is, do you want to risk your kids' future, your grandkids' future? Do you want to tolerate the idea that these ignorant, arrogant, detached from reality, gods among men, called judges and Democrats, shall have no consequences for releasing savagery and the collapse of society back out onto the street over and over and over again, and then lecture you like this ugly bastard, Judge Beach, your ass face?
He says the SAFETY Act and move to cashless bail are not to blame.
When monetary bail existed, we had people who posted monetary bail who went out and committed atrocious offenses. It happened. It happened frequently.
And that's another thing. What happened to the money? Because in theory, they surrender the bail. What happened to all that money? Is it like the tax auction properties that Cook County illegally stole from the citizens? Billions and billions. Where's the money, ass face?
We no longer have monetary bail. We have other factors. Those things are still happening, right? That is the nature of a system that is designed with a presumption of innocence.
As of last month, 2,450.
You know what's funny? He's talking to you as if you don't know about the other areas in America. Like Florida, which I know very well. There is no such thing as the Safety Act. Not only are there consequences, if a judge releases somebody out there, thrown out immediately, we have no such thing as these legacy, lifelong Democrats, scum in charge of anything. And if it is an area where Democrats are in charge, that's where the crime is. But number two, the perpetrators like this fat pig who killed the one cop and shot the other one in the face. Florida, down here, we kill that son of a pig. That's the difference. Consequences versus the veneer of superiority, of intellectual righteous indignation by obvious failures such as ass-face judge.
Defendants were on the electronic monitoring system overseen by the courts. 590 of them, roughly a quarter, are awaiting trial for violent crimes. And we learned today 8% of the people on electronic monitoring are AWOL. No one knows where they are. The chief judge acknowledges it's a flawed system.
How concerned should the public be about those 8% of defendants who are AWOL?
Concerned is a tough thing to define, right? They're no longer where they're supposed to be. They're no longer in their home. Doesn't mean they're out committing crimes necessarily.
Not only can anybody be a judge, not only can anybody be a lawyer, but the dumbest of them are always in the same place. They're always in the Democrat Party.
Some might be, but they're actively being searched for right now by law enforcement.
Who is on electronic monitoring may surprise you. 210 defendants, 9% of the total, are facing an aggravated unlawful use of a weapons charge. Others are awaiting trial for being a felon in possession of a weapon. And there are 21 defendants currently on EM who are charged with murder. The chief judge.
21 murderers are on electronic monitoring. 21 murderers. And 8% are gone in the wind. They don't know where they are. And you call this government that you're taxed for? See, you're taxed to pay the judge's ass face. You're taxed to pay his pension, his salary, and all of these imbeciles. What do you get for it? You get lectured to in the face of the collapse of your society, in the face of danger. And what the judge knows is, well, the criminals will never be mad at the judges that let him out, just the ones that want him in. So they're not only protected by the corrupt Democrat policies and laws, they're protected by the very criminals that they enrich with freedom. 312-642-5600.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
So it's springtime, and I know at Donley Auctions, Randy has something cooking in Union, Illinois. Randy, what is coming up this week?
Oh, my God, Shaun. Well, first, thanks for having me, but we're putting the final touches on part one of our Spring Classic. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, day one is online only with coins and jewelry. Day two is live and online with the Frank Ryder collection. And day three, also live and online, is coin op, advertising, and tons more. I mean, it's all happening this weekend, May 15th through the 17th.
That sounds fantastic. What is this Frank Ryder collection you speak of?
Wow, it's really absolutely incredible collection. It's all kinds of Nickelodeon music boxes. I mean, there's treasures like a 1922 Mills Violano that's a self-playing violin and piano, along with a rare Coinola orchestrion and a Wurlitzer coin-op piano. I mean, these are just mechanical ancestors of the jukeboxes, and finding them in this condition is a rare opportunity. To anchor your space, with a true centerpiece.
I may have to check out at the table there before Cigar Night actually kicks in. Between the show and Cigar Night, I'm going over to the table at Donley Auctions.
You got it. I look forward to seeing you there. But, everybody can join us in person in Union, Illinois, or bid from anywhere in the world at DonleyAuctions.com. Everything kicks off this Friday through Sunday, 10 a.m. daily. But remember, day 1 is online only. Days 2 and 3 are live and online. And the preview is this Thursday and Friday from noon to 7. Don't forget, we also have the Spring Classic on May 29th. That's one you don't want to miss.
It's absolutely fantastic. Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions. You've got the best items at the best values at the best prices for the sellers. We absolutely love what you do. Thank you very much.
Progressive knows you think the grass is always greener. Like maybe you ride a